My name is Brian. I'm 29 years old and I live in a small house on the outskirts of Austin, Texas with my parents, Richard and Linda, and my younger sister Madison. For as long as I can remember, I've been the one keeping this family afloat. I work as a delivery driver. It's not a glamorous job, and it doesn't pay much, but I work long hours, 12, sometimes 14-hour days, and manage to cover all the bills: electricity, water, food, and even the cable and internet my sister uses endlessly. Every dime I earn goes into keeping this household running. And while I've sometimes felt like a workhorse, I've never openly complained. My parents, both 58, claim they're too old to work. My dad, Richard, spends his days watching sports or playing cards online. My mum, Linda, gossips over coffee with the neighbours and relives her youth watching reality shows. Madison, my 25-year-old sister, is treated like royalty. She's their sweetheart, the perfect daughter who can do nothing wrong. No job, no responsibilities, just endless praise. She's never lifted a finger to help around the house. Not because she's incapable, but because my parents refuse to admit she's not 12 anymore. She'll get on her feet soon, they always say. Meanwhile, I stretch every dollar, every hour of my day, just to ensure we don't lose the roof over our heads. The tension started one afternoon in April. I walked in after another brutal 12-hour shift. My back was killing me, and my shoes felt like bricks. All I wanted was a quiet dinner and 5 minutes of silence. Guess what? Madison screamed from the other room, running in with a giant smile on her face and a diamond ring glittering on her finger. "I'm getting married," Mum cried. Dad clapped and shook her tight in a big bear hug. They were beaming with pride and excitement. I forced a smile, not because I wasn't happy for her, but because deep down, I knew what was coming. Trouble with a capital T. "Congrats, Maddie," I managed. "Who's the lucky guy?" "His name's Nathan," she said, still glowing. "He's an accountant. Super sweet. We're getting married in 3 months. It's going to be perfect." Then came the real blow. "Nathan is paying for half the wedding," she said casually, "but I need you to cover the rest, about $20,000. Silence. Mum and Dad turned to me like I was a lottery ticket. Mum was the first to speak. "Brian, honey, you've always been the responsible one. You'll help your sister, won't you?" I blinked. Help with what? I don't have $20,000 just lying around. You know all my money goes towards the house. "Don't exaggerate," Dad snapped. "You're always working. You must have something saved." "Saved for emergencies?" "That's not the same. I'm not some vending machine you shake when you need quarters." "You're being selfish," Mum said almost immediately. "Everything we do is for this family. And when it's your sister's turn for happiness, you can't pitch in." "Why don't she get a job?" I asked. Madison looked like I had cursed her. Mum looked offended, clutching her chest like I had insulted the Virgin Mary. "How dare you!" she shrieked. "She's starting her life." "No, she's being handed one," I replied. Dad stood up, shouting, "Enough! You're just jealous. That's all. Jealous your sister's found someone, and you're still stuck." That word hit me like a slap. "Jealous?" I said. "I'm the one who wakes up before sunrise, works all day, and keeps this house going. And now you're all turning on me like I'm the enemy? Forget it. If you want a fairy tale wedding, find the money yourselves." I stormed off to my room, slamming the door. I could hear Mum crying, Madison pouting and saying I ruined everything. Dad ranted about how family doesn't turn its back on family. The days that followed were frosty. No one spoke unless absolutely necessary. When they did, it was only to guilt-trip me. Madison played the victim. Dad sulked. Mum accused me of being cold. Then, a week later, Dad proudly announced over dinner that he'd borrowed $10,000 from a friend to help pay for the wedding. Madison and Mum celebrated like they'd just won the jackpot, but deep down I knew exactly who they'd expect to repay that loan. "Brian," Dad said, "I hope you'll help with at least the honeymoon. We've done our part." "I told you I don't have the money," I said. "And if you took a loan, you figure out how you'll pay it back." "You're so ungrateful," Mum muttered, "after how much we've done for you." I wanted to scream. What had they done for me lately, other than treat me like a bank account with a heartbeat? The wedding was creeping closer, and pressure was mounting. Our house became a planning center. All flowers, cake, seating charts, playlists. I worked more hours. 2 days before the wedding, my grandparents, Walter and Doris, arrived from their home in San Antonio. Grandpa Walter had always been a stoic man. Retired railroad engineer. honest, sharp, and with a heart of gold. He always treated me with respect, and he never demanded anything from me. That night, he pulled me aside in the garage. "Brian, listen carefully," he said, pulling a thick envelope from his coat. "This is $30,000 I just withdrew from the bank. It's to pay off the final mortgage on our house. I need it kept safe until we leave on Monday." I nodded. "No questions?" "Of course, Grandpa. I'll make sure no one touches it." "I trust you," he said. "That money could cost us everything if lost." I placed the envelope in a secure spot beneath my mattress that very night. I didn't tell a soul, not even where it was. Grandpa had trusted me, and I wasn't going to let him down. The wedding was the next day. It was a small but beautiful event held in a rented hall. White decor, warm lights. Madison looked radiant. Nathan smiled like he'd just won the lottery. Everyone danced, laughed, and celebrated. And me? I stood in the back, sipping punch like an outsider. Later in the night, Madison took the mic and announced their honeymoon plans. "We'll be flying to Maui next week. But," she added, "we're still a teensy bit short on funds. But I know my amazing family will help out." Cue the side eyes. Mum and Dad turned to me as if they already knew my bank balance. During a quiet moment, Dad came over. "Brian, help with the honeymoon at least." "Don't make me look bad. I told you already. I'm not a money tree," I snapped. "You're family. That doesn't mean I sacrifice my whole life." "You've done nothing for your sister," Madison chimed in snootily. I walked away. I noticed Dad left the reception early, claiming exhaustion. Nobody thought much of it. I got home around 4 a.m. and went straight to bed. The next morning, I woke up feeling something was wrong. I reached under my mattress. The envelope, you already know, was gone. I searched frantically. Nothing. My heart pounded so hard I could barely think. There was only one person who could have known. I found Dad in the kitchen sipping coffee like any other day. "Dad," I said slowly, "did you go into my room last night?" He looked up and scoffed. "What? You mean the $30,000 you had under your bed?" I froze. "You don't need to lie. I know you had money saved," he said. "I used it. $20,000 for your sister's honeymoon and $10,000 to pay back my friend." "That wasn't my money," I said. My voice cracked. He made a face like I'd told a bad joke. "Don't play dumb, Brian." At that very moment, Grandpa Walter walked into the kitchen. "Hey, son," he said brightly. I came to grab the envelope. "Doris and I are heading back in a few." Dad turned ghost white. I thought it was Brian's savings," Dad sputtered. Grandpa's face contorted with rage. "Richard, that money was to pay off my home. You just took it? Are you out of your mind?" Just then, Madison appeared behind him, grinning. "Dad, thanks again for the money. The resort looks amazing." It was over. "You have 3 days," Grandpa growled, "to return every penny. If not, I'm pressing charges. I don't care if you're my own son." Without another word, he led Grandma Doris out the door. Silence. Dad collapsed into a chair, sobbing. But then he had the audacity to turn his anger on me. "This is your fault, Brian," he shouted. "Why didn't you say it was Grandpa's money? You could have avoided this." Something snapped in me. "No, you should have asked before raiding my room. You stole from me, and even now you think I should have bailed you out?" He jumped up and stepped toward me, his hand raising fast like a strike. But I didn't flinch. "Don't you dare touch me," I said coldly. There was silence again. I walked to my room, grabbed my backpack and packed everything I needed. Laptop, a few sets of clothes, my identification, the bare essentials. "I'm done," I told them when I passed through the living room again. "This place is no longer my burden to carry. Find someone else to bleed dry." Mum gasped. Madison scowled. Dad said nothing. I walked out that day and never looked back. I found a small studio downtown. Not fancy, but mine. I finally started saving money for my future. I stopped paying their bills, and for the first time I had peace. Real peace. A month later, I got the call. My dad couldn't repay Grandpa. The bank foreclosed on their home. Grandpa took legal action. He asked me to testify, and though it broke my heart, I did. Dad went to jail for theft. Mum moved in with Madison and Nathan, who now deal with her constant drama. Madison had her dream honeymoon while her family crumbled beneath it. My grandparents now live with me. They had nowhere else to turn, and I didn't hesitate to welcome them. They thank me every day. And while things are still tight, every bill I pay now means something. No more guilt. No more undeserved expectations. I'm not selfish. I just finally chose me. For the first time in my life, I'm living on my own terms.